winter has most definitely arrived, and for many of us that means if we want to get out and ride, we're going to have to deal with the snow and the cold. Now, before you head out into those Arctic conditions, you definitely want to make sure that you are dressed properly. Layering up is definitely the way to go, and you want to make sure that you pack at least one extra layer and a windbreaker into your rucksack just in case. As a friend of mine once said, better to be looking at it than looking for it. Good pair of winter gloves are an absolute must. They need to keep your hands warm but not restrict movement too much. Don't worry if your gloves aren't warm enough, because you can always run a ghetto setup with whatever gloves you've got and a pair of workshop gloves. I wear a thin balaclava under my helmet that I can either roll up or down to keep my head and ears nice and toasty. I would also really recommend some sort of fleece neck warmer. This can double up as a face warmer when it gets really cold and will help you avoid the dreaded beard freeze. But without a doubt, the most important pieces of kit are some warm socks and shoes, because for some reason it always seems to be the feet that freeze first. But if your feet are still getting cold, don't worry, because you can use some plastic bags for some ghetto waterproof socks. I like these Pooper Scooper bags, which are just about the right size for your feet. While on the subject of footwear, leave your 510 riding shoes at home. 510 shoes are amazing on your pedals and shit on snow. I wear these lightweight hiking boots, which have a much better sole for those inevitable moments when you're going to end up pushing your bike. Once you've got yourself kitted out, it's time to pay attention to your ride. Start by dropping the pressures in your tyres, which is going to help you maximise what little grip there is available. Now, how much you drop the pressures by is really very dependent on the conditions on the day. But as a rule of thumb, I usually drop them by about 15% and then adjust from there. Just remember to take a pump with you though, because conditions can and do change from one trail to the next. If you've got flat pedals, use them. Cleats can easily become clogged up with frozen snow, and this makes clipping in a proper pain in the butt. Anyone that lives in a region that experiences regular winter snowfalls will know that not all snow is created equal, and not all snow makes for great riding conditions. Hard frozen ground covered in 10 to 15 centimetres of light dry snow is ideal for most trails. Heavy wet snow, on the other hand, can be really hard work. Try and avoid climbing trails that are likely to be covered in heavy snow. Sometimes it's just best to stick to the road if that's an option. In general, as the snow gets deeper, I ride steeper trails. All that snow acts as an external brake, and if you haven't got enough gravity on your side, you could well end up coming to a grinding halt. One more thing to remember is that as snow starts to melt, the trails can get extremely slippery. So head out early and plan to get there before things start thawing out. Once you're out on the trail, it's usually best to stay seated while pedaling. This will put more weight over the rear wheel and make a massive difference in terms of traction. I also like to drop my seat a little bit, which lowers my centre of gravity and really helps with balance. On the way downhill, you're just going to have to accept that you're going to be sliding about. Try and stay loose on the bike, let the bike move around underneath you. Make sure you get your braking done before the corners to avoid losing the front wheel, and keep your head up looking down the trail for any potential hazards such as ice patches, which can be absolutely deadly. Spikes are an option for icy conditions, and the grip they provide will blow your mind. But for most of us, it's just not worth the cost and effort of running them. Most of all though, take advantage of those opportunities when the conditions are prime, and get out there and ride your bike on the snow, because I promise you won't regret it. Thanks for coming along, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.